Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on Introduction to Registered Apprenticeships. My name is Shannon Garrett. I am the Chief Strategy Officer for the Michigan Women's Commission, and I'm joined today by Madube Olatunji, the Project Coordinator for our Commission's My Fair webinar series. That's F-A-R-E, and we'll talk about that in a moment. Today's presenter is Stephanie Vomvolakis, the Youth Apprenticeship Specialist at the Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity, also known as LEO. So the Michigan Women's Commission was created by statute in 1968. We have 15 commissioners who are appointed by Governor Gretchen Whitmer to serve 3-year terms. The commission's duties include reviewing the status of women in Michigan, directing attention to critical problems confronting women, and recognizing women's accomplishments and contributions to Michigan. Because our most recent surveys and conversations with women around the state found an overwhelming emphasis on economic security issues, Governor Whitmer moved our commission from the Michigan Department of Civil Rights to the Michigan Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity, or LEO, to ensure productive collaborations that will benefit women's economic prosperity around our state. We are still very involved on the civil rights side of things, but we are also putting a special focus on women's economic security. You can learn more about the Michigan Women's Commission at Michigan.gov/MWC. So last fall, the U.S. Department of Labor Women's Bureau awarded us a FAIR grant. FAIR, F-A-R-E, stands for Fostering Access, Rights, and Equity. And the purpose is to help women workers who earn low wages access their employment rights and benefits. It's really for all women, but with a special emphasis on women who earn low wages. So using this FAIR grant, the Michigan Women's Commission developed a My Fair webinar series to share information with women around the state. Each month, we focus on a different benefit or program or workplace right, such as today's presentation about why you should consider trying registered apprenticeships. And next month's presentation will be on splitting your childcare costs with the state and your employer using the My TriShare childcare program. And that will be on December 14th at 10 o'clock a.m. And you can find more information on all of our social media channels. So every webinar and related resource, all the related resources will be shared on our commission's website, and you can have direct access to those resources at Michigan.gov/FAIR, F-A-R-E. So I'm pleased now to welcome you to today's My Fair webinar. Today's topic again is why try registered apprenticeships. And before we get started, just to let participants know, you can turn on your closed captioning or transcription by clicking the appropriate icon on your screen. Use the chat box to ask questions throughout the presentation. And again, you'll be able to revisit this presentation once today's recording and slides are posted to the website at Michigan.gov/FARE. And now I'm excited to pass the microphone to Stephanie.
Hi, thank you so much for that introduction. And once again, I am Stephanie Vomvolakis, the Apprenticeship Specialist with focus on youth apprentices ages 16 to 24 with the State Apprenticeship Expansion Team at the Department of Labor and Economic Opportunity, otherwise known as LEO. So on behalf of LEO, I'm very excited to have the opportunity to speak here today in partnership with the Michigan Women's Commission. LEO champions the efforts of public and private partners to support and expand registered apprenticeship program opportunities for all citizens in partnership with the Department of Labor, Office of Apprenticeship. The State Apprenticeship Expansion Team contributes to the growth and opportunities through policy, partnership, and practice. Next slide, please. So today, we are going to kind of review the what, why, and hows of registered apprenticeship and the differences between registered apprenticeships and non-registered apprenticeships. We're also going to review some myth busters And so I'm hoping that you learn some new knowledge and some new key takeaways, even if you do have some, the basics of registered apprenticeship. So let's get into some formal definitions here. So registered apprenticeship actually meets the quality standards of a Department of the Department of Labor and has been registered with the Department of Labor. So there is a difference between a registered apprenticeship and a non-registered apprenticeship. So a registered apprenticeship is a federally monitored program, and it protects its workers as well, any participant that's in the program. And the occupations that are chosen are industry driven. These aren't just any occupations that someone says that they need. So industry drives the occupations that are registered for the apprenticeships. And it's a earn and learn model, to summarize. So you earn wages while you learn, and we'll kind of get to some of the key components of registered apprenticeship. But what happens is you actually work on the job, you're getting paid a wage, and then behind the scenes, you're going to school, or you're continuing your education, whether that be online or in partnership with the community college. And it's a beautiful thing that happens. You're actually learning and receiving the education that you need as you're learning the hands-on aspect of the job with a mentor. And registered apprenticeship has been around for a very long time. Actually, even before the Fitzgerald Act, registered apprenticeship, well, it wasn't registered, but apprenticeship was around. And we just celebrated the 85th anniversary of the Fitzgerald Act, which recognized registered apprenticeship and provided us a formal definition. Next slide, please. So there are really 5 core components to a registered apprenticeship. And so just to give you an idea of how things flow, we're going to do a quick review. So first and foremost, the employer is hiring you as an apprentice. This is not a temporary position. You are a full-time employee. And so apprentices can be new hires. They can be incumbent workers that are being promoted as well. And so apprenticeships are jobs from day one. And so the whole goal is to retain the workforce. And number 2, once again, you're on the job learning in a work setting. So that's our earn and learn model that we previously discussed. And same with the job-related classroom training. And so everything is very particular to the occupation that you're mentoring under and apprenticing under. And when it comes to the help of a mentor, that's very important. So you're going to be receiving a rapid knowledge transfer from that mentor that's going to be helping you throughout your program. And you receive rewards for skills gains. As you move through the program, a federally recognized registered apprenticeship has to provide you a wage increase in some way, shape, or form throughout the program. And employers set things up a little differently. Some employers will provide a wage increase maybe 6 months into the program, or they might provide a wage increase at the end of the apprenticeship. That's at their discretion. And also at the end of the registered apprenticeship, you receive a nationally recognized credential from the Department of Labor that you can take anywhere in the US with you that states that you took this rigorous pathway and are, basically perfect for any opportunity that comes your way for that occupation. It's a really beautiful thing. And so next slide, please. So we're just going to do a quick review of key roles. There's 4 players that are in registered apprenticeship. Obviously, we have our employer partners that hire. You have a sponsor. So the employers typically are the sponsors, but it can also be an industry association. So basically, the employer is sponsoring you into their apprenticeship, and they sign a contract with you. And the contract shows everything that you're going to need to learn, all the competencies and education that you're going to go through, your wage increases, the length of time for the apprenticeship, which can vary anywhere from 1 to 4 years. We actually have one that's 5 years long as well, depends on your occupation. And so you actually get to see everything that you're working towards. And so supportive services can be provided with your workforce partners, and we'll provide you that information pretty soon here. And obviously you have an educational provider partner that's going to help you understand what's going on, so you can be successful on the job. Next slide, please. So there's benefits and value to registered apprenticeship. And so we'll just do a quick review kind of some of the things we just stated. So you're receiving hands-on career training. And so registered apprenticeship, a lot of people think that college isn't involved. A lot of the time there is college behind the scenes. It's typically a community college, but a lot of programs that are set up will lead to an associate's degree or will lead to credit. So the wonderful thing is if you start a registered apprenticeship program with an employer that partners with a local school, you'll be gaining credits there if you ever want to continue your education. And so it's a really cool thing. And so you earn while you learn, and there's a very good retention rate for when you complete. And so overall, apprentices actually earn a higher wage over their lifetime, but apprentice completers are averaging right now at about $77,000 per year. And that's data that was pulled across the US. And I have a link in the slides here if you ever want to dig into that data. And for the most part, typically the employers pay for the education. And I'm going to give you a little quick insight as to what's going on in Michigan. So here at Leo, we can also help offset the cost of your apprenticeship and the educational component. So we are doing everything we can to incentivize these employers to help support you in your education and getting you trained up and ready for today's work. And once again, that national credential is so wonderful. You take that anywhere with you and it's recognized. And a lot of the schools in Michigan will actually provide you credit for that credential across the state. It just depends on how the partnership works. And so the interesting thing with apprenticeship, a lot of people think it's the construction trades. Right? They think of electricians and plumbers and pipe fitters, and it's not. We have many healthcare occupations. We have nursing assistants. We have pharmacy technicians. We actually have a winemaker apprenticeship up in Traverse City. We have a beekeeper apprenticeship. So there are over 1,200 occupations. And so, keep an open mind when it comes to your career path. There are many, many options for registered apprenticeships, and it's not a second chance system. This is a valuable training model. And so not everyone is slated to go straight to school when they graduate, for example, or maybe you're mid-career and you're wanting to make a change and you want to transition. This is a wonderful way to do so without getting yourself into some crazy debt. Apprenticeship is not just union-based programs. Apprenticeship is union and non-union. So in Michigan, we are a highly unionized state. And so, yes, a lot of our programs are union-based apprenticeships, but many are not. And that's awesome too. And, as you saw, apprenticeship has been around for a long time. It's not outdated. It works. And we're still perfecting the model, and we continue to move forward, especially in Michigan. And so the programs can be set up in different ways, and this is really at the discretion of the employer. And so programs can be time-based, competency-based, or a hybrid of both. Next slide, please. So I want to go over some of the myths a little bit. And I know that I touched on this a little bit, but I wanted you to see some occupations that some of them actually surprised me that were listed as registered occupations under the registered apprenticeship. So most recently in the state of Michigan, we are bringing the K through 12 teacher apprenticeship. It's looking like it's going to launch in Saginaw first. And so that's a really wonderful opportunity if you're a paraprofessional, or somebody wanting to get back into the workforce and you would like to become a teacher. It's a way to have your education paid for. And it's a wonderful program that we're creating. And so we have baker, once again, beekeeper. There's many opportunities. The IT careers are very popular in registered apprenticeship as well. Next slide, please. So once again, registered apprenticeship is not just for union affiliated employers. It's for both employers. It's union and non-union. Yes, our union partners provided us a lot of the groundwork needed to start registered apprenticeships, but it's okay if they're not. So the program can still be registered with the Department of Labor. Next slide, please. So apprenticeship isn't very widely used. It's a big myth. It's not popular. And so the interesting thing is we have more than 200,000 new apprentices that entered just in 2021. And, it continues to grow. We did have a bit of a decrease over COVID, but our numbers are going up and increasing very steadily. And so if you're interested in statewide metrics that are live, you can visit Michigan.gov/apprenticeship. And I also have the website listed on one of the end slides. So you can visit and actually see an interactive dashboard of what's active in Michigan right now when it comes to the occupations, how many apprentices are registered in the state, how many programs. You can actually see some of the demographics in the programs as well. So you can see the percentage of women in specific occupations, which we're really honing in on, and one of the main reasons why we're here today. Next slide. So if you are interested in a registered apprenticeship and would like to learn more, we have good news. We have enhanced regional capacity through a lot of federal funding that behind the scenes, people have worked very hard to receive in the state. And so we actually have apprenticeship success coordinators. There are 16, and there is one located in each Michigan Works region. Next slide, please. So this is a map of all of the Michigan Works regions, okay? And so I also included a link that provides you the direct contact information for that apprenticeship coordinator in your region. So don't hesitate to reach out to them. They are able to provide you with a lot of resources and kind of give you an update as to what's going on in the region as well around apprenticeship, what opportunities are available. Maybe an opportunity might not be available immediately, for example, in information technology, but they may know of an employer that's going to recruit, this summer, for example. So they're really a really great group to stay in contact with should you need anything in particular. And they can also help you with wraparound services, which is extremely important. So to really wrap things up, as you can see, Michigan is serious about registered apprenticeship. And registered apprenticeship results in a credential, as you know, from the Department of Labor. And so it actually directly supports the governor's Michigan New Economy Plan. And so part of the New Economy Plan includes a 60 by 30 initiative, which many of you may have heard of. And so that provides 60% of adults with a post-secondary credential by 2030. And so as you can see in this slide, the state of Michigan, we have over $30 million in funding right now to offset the cost of education for registered apprenticeship and some on-the-job training dollars to support the employers. So it's highly incentivized right now. And so we really are doing everything we can to promote these programs. And we have a pretty hefty goal. We have a goal of 9,000, actually, that might be climbing 9,000 apprentices by 2024. And as you can see, we have some focuses here for veterans, youth, underrepresented, unemployed, underemployed, individuals with disabilities and justice involved. So we really want to be able to make registered apprenticeship, equal and a level playing field for anyone that wants to access it. Next slide, please. So that is wrapping up the presentation today. And so here, if you look, I have the Michigan.gov/apprenticeship website. That is a state of Michigan website. And so we've got the apprenticeship dashboard on there that shows occupation information and apprenticeship metrics that are happening in Michigan Live. And I also have the apprenticeship email inbox. Should you need to contact us directly, you are more than welcome to, and we can direct you and support you. We'll do our best. So thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. I'm going to come back on here just real quick to say thank you to Stephanie and also to Toy Bogan, our ASL interpreter today. We do have a couple of questions, so I'm going to introduce Modupe Olatunji. If you want to come in and toss those questions to Stephanie and then close us out. And you're muted.
Hello, everyone. My first question is, how are registered apprenticeships beneficial for women in particular?
So registered apprenticeship is an equal playing field. So the contract that's signed and generated by the Department of Labor provides protection to anyone that's entering into the apprenticeship. And so it's really a contract. And not only that, there's information that protects the worker. And so if there's any issues, even that's part of your contract and your packet that the apprentice signs, there's information provided to you internally for a federal rep that can help you if you run into any trouble or have any questions. And so it sometimes takes a village. And so there's a lot of support that's out there. And not only that, I think one of the things that we get caught up on is some supportive services that are needed, right? So childcare, transportation, we have Michigan Works partners that are able to support you and to support women and anyone that's wanting to get into registered apprenticeship. And so we all really come together to try to holistically create a model and a good work environment for women in the workplace.
Thank you. And question 2, if I already have a college degree, why would I want to try a registered apprenticeship?
Oh, that's a great one. So I went to college for computer network administration, and I have nothing to do with that now in my career. I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yes.
Right? And so sometimes you got to follow your heart with your occupation. And some people, may not want to work in their designated area that they graduated in, and that's okay. And so the interesting thing, and the one thing I do love about registered apprenticeship is if you're interested in trying an occupation or, wanting to further your education, but you can't take on the debt. If you have previous experience, in particular, if you've taken college classes, you can receive credit for that experience and actually acceleration into the apprenticeship program. So your college degree or any college classes in general may help you accelerate you into your program, depending on the occupation you choose and your employer.
And my last question, are there any age restrictions? Could I be too young or too old to participate?
Too old, never. Never. Too young, maybe. So 16, you can actually become a registered apprentice at 16. So 16 and up. Yes. And if anyone has questions about that, they're more than welcome to reach out to us directly. Typically we actually have some 16 and a lot of 17-year-olds that are in registered apprenticeship and in high school, which is really awesome. It's more of a flexible model with them. And they just kind of work when they can, typically in the summertime. And so a lot of the 16-year-olds are family members that are getting into, a family business or occupation. So, because that's a little bit of a leap of faith there, but it's definitely possible, and it depends on the candidate and, the employer as well. But 16 and up, and it's a really cool thing. Youth apprenticeship is a great model.
Yes, it is. Well, thank you so much, Stephanie, for joining us today. And thank you, Toy. Our next MI Fair webinar will focus on splitting your child care cost with MI Tri-Share Child Care Program and will take place on Wednesday, December 14th, again from 10 to 10:30 a.m. Details coming soon to the Commission's website and social media. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.